I think it's really difficult to make a lot of money by like following rules. I broke so many rules. Here's a problem though, Spencer. This is the problem that we're in right now because you're an investor in chamber stays.
Yep.
And we are in a tough spot with finishing these hotels. The problem is I have always been rewarded for reckless and like disorderly behavior. Disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
Has almost always been given me a reward.
Welcome to Lessons in Leverage, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of success. We'll help you unlock the secrets of leverage so you can amplify your impact in the world. Here's your host, Spencer Lowe.
Welcome to another episode of Lessons in Leverage. Today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Travis Chambers. Travis is the founder of Chamber Media, a company he grew and helped sell for a lot of money, millions of dollars, and then subsequently started a company called Chamber Stays, which is one of the coolest companies out there right now doing otherworldly stays. And I'm excited to get into both those with you. But Travis, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, dude. Like, that's the most cliche way I could respond to that.
Yeah, I think that's what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to say thanks for coming. You're supposed to say thanks
It's so
for
annoying to
having
just say what you're supposed to say in a societal norm.
That's fair.
It's frustrating to me.
So
I don't want to say thank you for
Let's try it
having
again.
me.
Let's try it again. Travis, thanks for being here.
Hell yeah, I'm here.
That's right.
Let's do this. I'm here, Bia.
You can swear on the podcast. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. So,
I can't. No, I have a rule. I won't swear in public until my grandma passes away.
Oh, okay, that's
I just
fair.
don't want to disappoint her. She's pioneer blood, and she's a sweet angel soul who is kind of a little senile, and she's getting ready for the other side. I can't bring her down.
There's no reason to send her out with a B word.
No. She's got to feel like things are safe.
That's fair.
She goes.
Yeah, the legacy.
After
is still
that,
in good
though,
hands.
I'm dropping F-bombs on every podcast I can. Just kidding. Just kidding.
All right, man. Well, we're going to do more of a free-flowing format today, more of a conversational style. But I wanted to start out and talk a little bit about a couple key parts of your journey. So, I've actually never heard how you decided to start Chamber Stays, and I want to just not Chamber Stays, Chamber Media, the first company that you built. And one of the things we're trying to do with this podcast is highlight when people wake up to the fact that maybe they're not playing a game that is going to get them what they deserve, what they want. Because if you're playing low leverage games, you can't really get big outcomes. And so at some point you were out there just working in marketing, hacking your way onto Forbes 30, 30 under 30. And you realized, I got to go do something on my own. Tell me about how you got to that.
I never thought I was an entrepreneur. And my grandpa was a farmer, my dad was a sales executive, right?
Okay.
So I was going to follow my dad's path and I was going to do the corporate route. Because, why would you start a business and, lose sleep at night and ruin your life, right? That's for other people.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not us. That's not that's not what we do as chambers, right?
Mm.
But when I was in college, looking back, I was doing entrepreneurial stuff instinctively.
Mm.
So, started a painting company. Why? Because I was I'm not going to go wait tables. I'm not going to go waste my time on a non-skill thing. And any skilled internship is $10 an hour. So I'm no, I need to make more money.
Yeah.
So the only way I can go make more money is I got to start something. Because no one's going to give me money. Because I don't have any skills. I don't know anything yet.
Yeah.
But I started a painting company and, I did 6 months of that and it didn't really make money. Didn't really lose money. It supported me for 6 months with my $1,000 a month living costs. And I put on benefit concerts, put on parties at our fraternity house. We were the only dry fraternity house in the country that I know of, at least. And so we'd have 1,000 people come through, and then we'd go rent a houseboat in Lake Powell with the money from that. And then I started MMA fights. I went to jiu-jitsu a few times, saw this movie called Warrior, and I was this is cool. I want to do something like this, but I'm too fragile to fight, so I'm just going to put on fights.
That makes sense.
The fight business. And, dude, 2,000 people showed up to the first one. I just went crazy on the guerrilla marketing, flyered cars in football game parking lots, got chased off by the cops. People could get free tickets if they invited 200 people to the event on Facebook. So in the town of Logan, 100,000 people, we had 2,000 people invited on Facebook. No, it was 6,000 people invited. and 2,000 people showed up.
That's awesome.
But I screwed up on operations because I suck at operating businesses and did not even count what our capacity was. Didn't even pay attention to that. Lost our venue like 2 weeks before. I scrambled and found a new one, and we could only fit like 800 people in there. Well, 2,000 people showed up. So, but anyways, so this whole time, it's never like dawning on me that I'm an entrepreneur. I'm still planning on going and getting a job, raising a family with a white picket fence, and get a first job, just a boring, normal marketing job. And then we have this video go viral, takes us to LA. All of a sudden, at the top creative agency in the world that I had written on my mirror that I was going to go work at. Working there for a year and a half. And then the moment that I realized was when I read this book called The 7-Day Workweek. Or what is it called? No.
4-hour work week?
4-hour work week.
There you go.
4-hour
Same thing. 7 days. I think you're too focused on what you're doing now, the 7-day work week. Not enough on what you thought entrepreneurship was going to be, the 4-hour work week.
So I read this book, and for some reason I'm like, oh, like I could just go, like obviously this 4-hour work week thing is a complete lie. Like this doesn't exist.
It's really good marketing.
It doesn't exist, but that was kind of the light bulb moment. And then I went to 20th Century Fox because they had a work from home type setup, and it was just a disaster. Daughter was born, dad was getting divorced. It was just a big old freaking mess. And after 3 months they let me go because I sucked. And that's when I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, I'm just going to try and start something. And I had two of the old agency guys I started with, and we called it One in the Chamber. It was their idea, and I'm like, I hate this, guys. They're like, we're doing it, One in the Chamber. And we went like 3 months with no clients. And the plan was, we'll take 3 months. I had like 15 grand of severance. I still have no idea why those guys gave me severance after only being there for 3 months. That's pretty messed up.
Like corporate HR policy.
But dude, 15 grand for me, I was like loaded.
Yeah.
Because we were living paycheck to paycheck, 80 grand in LA.
Yeah, no, 15 grand gives you a real runway.
I'm like, we got 3 months, babe. We could do this. Yeah, and it was like 3.5 months in that we got a $60,000 client.
You know, I don't think that that's accidental. Like, there is certainly a relationship of like it takes time to do something. Mm-hmm. There's also something about like, oh shit, if I don't do something, it's like over. Like game time, mm-hmm. Money's running out. Mm-hmm. Now what? Some of the best work happens under those constraints. I know for me, like when I first started my company, the first few months, I was just like dreaming big, all the things we could do. Mm-hmm. And then I saw my savings just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was like, oh, I really got to go put money into this account. Mm. And I got to do it soon or I'm going to be screwed. And whole demeanor changed over the next few months, started to get traction. So I think there's definitely something to the fact that when the money gets tight and you sharpen that focus, great things happen.
It's probably why rich kids don't make it.
Yeah, it could be. Everyone
thinks, right, that rich people are rich kids.
Yeah.
It's like statistically false.
There's a very big like online narrative right now of like everyone that's successful got so lucky, and there's no doubt tons of luck in any success. Yet,
no, the truth is if
the funny thing is how often the people who really do start with it all fail
suck, yeah.
And lose it and squander it all.
The truth is rich kids don't start stuff because they're already rich.
Yeah,
that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
they don't do anything. They don't do anything.
I'm sure some do, but yeah, I think on average
they dabble.
There's a lot that don't.
They have a trust fund, and I don't know what they do, but they don't.
The stats are within 3 generations they make sure that trust fund's gone.
But if you're already rich, why would you go like build a company? Like what? There's nothing to prove. There's no. Right when you're poor,
yeah,
broke ass 21-year-old, you're like, am I gonna make it in this world? Am I smart?
Dude, Alex Hormozy always talks about how like there's these 3 things. They did this big study of successful people, and one of the 3 things is this crippling insecurity that they're never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And I think you can find that in some rich kids, but definitely.
I mean, aren't all the great athletes just wildly insecure?
Probably.
Gordon Ryan, he's like the jiu-jitsu champ. He like can't handle being bullied online. Like he can't handle it. Like he posts and fights people.
I mean,
John Jones.
You can.
John Jones, best fighter probably ever walked the face of the earth. And he cannot handle people making fun of him. He can't handle it.
Shout out to if you're feeling insecure, you know, that can it can be a driving force. So we're talking then, we get through,
People
you
are
get to
fragile,
that point
man.
where you're insecure, you're up against the wall, you're running out of severance.
So,
and
okay.
you get your first client at Chamber.
First thing is, I'm at this creative agency. I read this book, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I could get like some side work. We're living paycheck to paycheck. So I'm like, I somehow found this sock company, and all of a sudden I was doing marketing for socks.
Okay.
On the side. And it really, you know what I mean? I really still wasn't very skilled. Like the Kobe versus Messi thing I did, most viral ad of all time. I just like found really good contractors. Like I just put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always been. I don't really excel at an extreme level at like any one thing.
That's bullshit, but I'll take it. I'll take it at you are good at putting a lot of things together.
I'm just a producer. I can produce.
You do have a very good vision for a creative.
I can scrap things together, maybe.
You finally get a client.
So that's how I started.
Was that
Chamber.
where you finally started to realize, hey, maybe I'm an entrepreneur. Maybe I can play at a bigger stage?
Yeah.
Where was that break in your mind where you're like, you stopped identifying with like, I'm just a guy who's on a corporate journey and maybe I can do some side stuff to hey, I actually can build something. I
was drinking the Kool-Aid, right? I was drinking the Kool-Aid about this entrepreneurial life thing. And this was at the period where a lot of people are starting to blow up in e-commerce. And before then, I had always just had this perception, and I got it from my dad, that if you want to start a company, you just have to have a lot of money. And truth be told, before the internet scaled, before the internet became fast enough for e-commerce platforms to exist, that was kind of true, right? Like, I'll ask you this. What company would you start pre-internet?
All service-based. Would all be home services,
roofing,
mechanics. You need a trade or a skill, and then you'd have to be willing to hit the doors and go sell.
Yeah. But do you realize how big of an insight that is, though?
Yeah.
To start with the service thing. And that was the second book I read, was a $100 startup. And I want to rip off that book, and I already have written 100 pages for a book called Start with the Service. And it's a ripoff of that book. But the difference is that book is like a study of like 50 entrepreneurs that started with the service. My book is a study of myself. This is how I read this book, read these stories. This is how I did it. This is how it worked for me. But dude, it came down to like, I was in social media, right? And I was a glorified social media posting scheduler.
Nice.
Because at the agency, I wasn't allowed to write copy. The creatives had to write the copy. I wasn't allowed to like make the assets. The art directors had to make the assets. So what was my real value? I was providing them with like insights and decks and strategic stuff. But like most of the stuff we were doing was a complete waste of time. Like they'd put all in this work to get tweets that would get like 10 likes on it. And then they would all like celebrate how great it was. So then I really started to delve into like media and distribution because I just realized that's where the power is. And that's probably where all my money has been made, is that study of media buying and distribution. Because if you really look at any figure that's done really well, they eventually have to figure that piece out. So that was how it was for me, man. It was like, I'm like, okay, I'm a glorified social media person. You know, like my skills are requisite with like, you know, the intern.
Yeah.
Like there's not a great amount of
so let me ask you this
quantifiable. And I did the Kobe thing. And the Kobe thing was one of the biggest marketing campaigns in the world.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah.
Quantifiably, it was the biggest marketing campaign.
Okay, for people who don't know, when you say the Kobe thing, you're talking about a very specific ad, one of the most viral ads of all time, Kobe versus Messi.
Yes.
What do people search on Google?
And I get sick of talking about it.
I know, but if they want to know what you're talking about, and they want to go search it on Google, what do they search? Just Kobe versus Messi?
Yeah.
And they'll find the ad.
Yeah.
And so
actually, it's not up anymore because Kobe's didn't renew. They don't have rights to his
estate.
likeness
Got it.
because he's gone. There's no.
Well, I'm sure you can find it somewhere on some back end site.
But they didn't
Someone's
renew it.
probably, Yeah, you can probably find it somewhere, but that's what you're searching for.
I think they had like a 5 or 6 year term to use his likeness.
Got it. Okay, so you're in this glorified scheduler role, and you're starting to see, though, you saw whether it's with the Kobe versus Messi ad, whether it's watching some of the operations at that bigger firm, as you're starting into your own business.
Yeah.
Marketing has this power. It's a massive form of leverage. Media leverage, the ability to communicate at scale. It's this massive amplifier.
Yeah.
So where do you start realizing, hey, if I can wield this leverage, if I can actually move 6,000 people to sign up to an MMA backyard event, if I can, go influence people to massively be interested in this ad that I helped create. What was the big aha moment where you started to see I could do something bigger?
I started realizing, I was like, dude, I'm a media hacker. That's what fascinates me. And there was another book. This was in my book reading era.
That's right.
Which has since long gone. Maybe I need to start reading some books again.
Sounds like there were some good books in the.
Maybe if I read a few books, I'll just like dominate.
The right books, maybe.
Yeah, there was another book called "Trust Me, I'm Lying: Confessions of a Media Manipulator" by Ryan Holiday.
Oh, that book's good.
Who has since become a massive success as an author.
I love his writing.
But the reason I was so obsessed with him is because at the time he was director of marketing for a clothing brand called American
Apparel or like
American Apparel, I think.
Or American Eagle?
No. It was
I'm trying to think of any clothing brands.
But the clothing brand at that time was like pretty big.
Okay.
I don't know if it's very big anymore. But he was this 25, I think he was like 25, 26, and he was this director of marketing for this company, right? That was his big claim to fame. That was like his moniker. But he was also an author, right? But at this time, he wasn't really famous because of the book. He was just like... So it was just fascinating to me, though. Like, he spray painted billboards for this movie he was promoting that was controversial. And got the New York Times to write about these billboards being vandalized, that he vandalized himself. And I was just like, this is a level of genius that I just love when people just break rules and do slightly shady stuff. I don't know why. It's just so fascinating to me. It's just a rebellious nature against this system that we're all kind of in. We're in this system that kind of doesn't want us to
wants you to shut up and obey.
Yeah. So whenever people do that and they resist, to me, it's art. To me, like Ryan Holiday doing that makes him this incredible artist who is like, no, I'm not playing by your rules, guys. I'm spray painting. I'm going to go commit a criminal act so I can do this. But doesn't really hurt, I don't know. But anyways, that was the big moment where I was like, all right, this is the path I'm going to be on. I remember I was at an ad agency as an intern in Atlanta my last year of college. And I actually had a super viral project there too. I created this thing. The agency was called IQ Agency. And as an intern, I created this web IQ quiz. It was like some idea I came up with. And at the time, only really like Twitter was popping off. YouTube a little bit. This was like 2011.
Okay.
And I put this quiz together because I'm an intern that really doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
Right? My dad was a client of theirs for a while. This was a daddy's favor to get in here. He likes to remind me of this, that my whole career is because he got me an internship for 3 months in LA in Atlanta for $12 an hour. But yeah, this quiz, it like tested how much you knew the internet. And I think it was like the internet's like, it was like some anniversary. But dude, it went nuts. And I reached out to some Twitter influencers. One of them was Robert Scoble. Have you heard of him? He's like the tech guy in Silicon Valley.
No.
I reached out to all these influencers and I was like, hey, I'm an intern and I'm really trying to like make my career. Would you just like retweet this quiz I made? And I was
brilliant.
I was shocked they all did it. So this thing went pretty big. It had like a few 100,000 page views in like a month. And it was just sick because everyone at that agency was like, "What the heck? This intern just like made this thing go viral. So it's like I've always been, for some reason, naturally gravitated towards this whole, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm so drawn to it. It's like I don't know what.
Okay,
why.
so this is the same thing you did with Forbes. So this is like, there's a pattern here that I'm seeing of different things that I know about your
hacked
journey.
Forbes.
Where
I should never have been on that list.
It's really wielding, I don't even want to call it relationship leverage. I mean, this is understanding people that have leverage already, seeing their media leverage, and then using it to your advantage, finding ways to capture and amplify what you wanted to get done.
I hate to admit this, but I'm wondering if I got that from college. Because I was a PR major, so I was too stupid to pass calculus. I didn't even try. I knew I was too stupid to do it. I didn't even try. I watched my brother fail calculus twice, and I was like, I'm definitely dumber than him. So I'm just not. And my dad was like, also like, hey man, you're kind of dumb in these areas.
Oh man,
sorry, son.
Gotta love that warm blanket of
you're
love
not.
and support.
You're just sorry. It's just like when you told me to not try out for football freshman year of high school, to like save me from paralysis. Do you know what I mean? He's just like, hey son, just this is reality. So I was in the journalism school and public relations, but like PR was dominating everything in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Because
all the journalists were selling out because the publishing and broadcasting business model was collapsing, right? Because of the internet, because of blogs. So this whole industry was collapsing, and it was being replaced by this PR dark side. All these journalists were all selling out. So they were all taking payments to write stuff. And that's where Crispin Porter exploded. Crispin Porter and Bogusky, Bogusky himself, Alex Bogusky, is one of the greatest media manipulator geniuses ever. And he would do these stunts, and they would just get featured like crazy. He did the Ryan Holiday thing, but he just did it through creative and through stunty stuff. He and his team, and it was right before I got there, were the ones who figured out the Domino's turnaround. Do you remember when Domino's came out and said, our pizza sucks?
I don't remember that, no. What happened?
It was huge. It was like 2010. Domino's did a Super Bowl ad, and they said, our pizza sucks. Our pizza has sucked for quite a while. It's not good.
Oh my goodness.
But we have a new recipe. Could you imagine the balls it would take you to take a company that big and to just burn it to the ground on purpose? And it worked. They exploded. They're still just dominating. But Bogusky, Domino's owes 90% of its profits for the last decade to one man and his team, Bogusky. But that PR training, the public relations training, was the training that made my mind think that way.
So PR very much gets into this idea of, how do I get my message out there? How do I capture the leverage that other people have and get a message spread broadly?
It's like, at the time, it was like, how can we create a stunt and how can we take over the conversation? It's kind of like the art of pop star. You know what I mean? Kanye West is probably one of the best people at it. Him and Kim are both some of the greatest PR minds ever. He knows. Rihanna's good at it too. It's a pop star thing. Gaga's great at it.
Yeah.
It's just like, what can I do? What can I say to get the attention on me so then I can deliver my message? Gaga's message was about gender and being accepted, and you know what I mean? They all have a message.
Have you seen the little conspiracy stuff about Taylor Swift with Travis Kelce?
No.
So she's dating. Do you know who Travis Kelce is?
Yeah, of course.
So she's.
Well, I
dating
didn't
Travis
know
Kelce.
who he was until.
Okay, so
Taylor Swift.
Okay, so then she shows up. The first big
it
game
seems
that she
manufactured.
gets.
Wait, hold up.
It could
Every
be.
relationship Taylor Swift has had seems manufactured.
So, and you want to talk pop stars great at PR? She's right up there.
My theory, okay? Not that anyone in the world cares about my opinion. There's a strong possibility that Taylor Swift is a lesbian.
Okay.
But This is just a wild theory. Okay.
Okay. I'll hear it out.
So she has these relationships with guys, but they're PR designed. She writes songs. This is
that's a deep
diabolical.
cut.
It's probably not true.
I mean, that's a deep
It's
cut.
probably not true.
But I will.
It's a
I'll give
reach.
I'll give you that for sure. She is amazing at PR. And with that being said, the conspiracy theory is that she was getting a ton of bad press as someone who's very sort of vocal about the climate.
Yeah.
For how much she flies her private jet.
Mhm.
It was like hundreds of flights a year.
Yeah.
And so she then got in this relationship with Kelsey and goes to the Chiefs Jets game and is featured all over that game, so that now anytime you search Taylor Swift Jets, instead of seeing all the info about her Jets, you see her at the game. And it totally changed all the Google results.
You're kidding me.
So people are that's like the little conspiracy theory. And whether or not it's true, it is a very convenient little thing.
My gosh. Now, I would bet money that is true. And the reason is because Taylor is not a elite vocalist. She is an elite songwriter.
Yeah.
And she is an elite pop star. But she's a very average vocalist.
Yeah, no, that's
She has one of the smallest vocal ranges.
Yeah, she's not dazzling with the vocal
No.
skills.
But like when she started, when she was young, they signed with a marketing agency. And they have been with that marketing agency her whole career.
Mm.
And a lot of people pretty much credit that agency to like a majority of her success. Granted, she's the talent, she's marketable, and she's a absolute machine.
She runs an absolutely massive empire.
She's a machine. She's a genius.
All of the ways that she gets her fans invested. She does so many things that are above and beyond what most pop stars do to capture and keep people bought into her story.
But she has a PR machine behind her.
Yeah, that's
and a marketing
very
agency
powerful.
behind her. And I mean, she got in this big feud with her label because the label probably didn't pull the weight that this marketing agency did.
Mm.
And so, this marketing agency is really the one creating her gravity. And the label just doesn't. That's probably why she tried to get out of it and wanted to get out of it. She's just like, I did all this.
Yeah.
You guys didn't do this. But that is absolutely fascinating to me.
Whether or not that's why she did
That
it,
she would take a
I
trip
think it's very interesting
for
that
SEO purposes.
it did come together very nicely.
And
that's
Travis
a
Kelce
subplot.
he's got his like 5 seconds of fame. 15.
We'll see how long it lasts. Maybe if they
15
get
seconds.
married, maybe this is where she settles down. All right, Ben. So coming back to you're using this PR. We went on a journey talking about PR.
Dude, I don't know why. I've always been attracted to it. Like in high school, I ran for student body president. My mom made me run for student body. She forced me. I didn't want to. One of my best friends was running. But then once I was in it, I started strategizing, and I was in all these marketing clubs. My dad had me in all these this DECA marketing club. So I was doing like marketing research, 40-page marketing research papers at like 16.
That's good.
And competing and pitching. So I think that's probably where it started. But I had this campaign. It was like, I'll kiss a goat for your vote. And it was a picture of me and a goat. And it was the stupidest thing ever, dude. But it worked. And
Sometimes the stupidest thing ever is what goes viral.
So I won, and we had an assembly, and I kissed a goat. And it was the
At
stupidest.
the assembly?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It was the stupidest thing ever. But I've always just been, I don't know where it comes from, but yeah.
So that starts out, that's one of the ways you got some of your early success. Then you look at how that sort of starts to evolve. There's the Forbes 30 under 30 example. For people who don't know that, maybe share a little bit about just the few things that went into that. Same thing. How did you get that recognition?
So one of the people I've learned the most from about viral marketing is Cameron Manwaring. He's a peer of mine who is much better at viral marketing than me. Way better. But I'm better at direct response. So,
Hey, listen, everyone's got their strengths.
And viral marketing died, by the way. It died in about 2018.
Okay.
That's when all the algorithms shut down because they had so much demand from advertisers that they shut down virality completely. And the only way you could get reach after that was to pay for it.
Okay.
So the algorithms were like, is this an ad? If it's an ad or if it's promoting anything, we're shutting it down because they need to pay for this. That whole industry died. gone. And that's when
So
I put it
right
into
now with
direct
things like
response.
TikTok and short form, where
It's back
the
now.
content, it's making a resurgence, you would say, in the short form video space specifically.
Yeah, and it always is. There's always some new platform that's
Okay.
popping off, but then eventually it ends.
Okay. Yeah, eventually the platform wants to capture more of the revenue, and so they
Yeah.
try to
I mean, that's
clamp down.
part of the reason I sold Chain Media is I was just exhausted of reinventing an entire company every 6 months because of algorithms.
Yeah.
I was just so exhausted of that.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted a physical asset that just exists and makes money. But where were we at? We were
talking. So sorry, I took us a little bit away, but just wanted to make sure I understood that point about kind of viral marketing.
So the Forbes thing. So Cameron gave me this tip. He's like, "Hey, what you need to do is you just need to get the judges or whoever's making the decision to just be aware of you, right?" So I reached out to a few of the influencers that I had in my commercials. And one of my favorites of all time, Laura Clary. She's big time Facebook, TikTok. She's just a great, lovable, fun person to be around. And she tweeted it. And it was so cool that she would do that. And all these influencers that I asked to do that, they did it.
And what did they tweet?
They just tweeted my nomination, and I filled out my own. You have to get nominated. Someone has to nominate you.
Okay.
And so I asked Laura. I was like, Laura, can I nominate myself with your name on it? You're busy. You don't have time to nominate. You don't have time to fill out this form. And I was like, and no one's going to nominate me because truth is, no one gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
About anyone.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about anyone. Everyone's worried about themselves. No one's going to nominate you for this Forbes list. And I'll tell you, 90% of the people on that list nominated themselves.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah.
And
They made it happen. They had to care enough to go try to make it happen.
there's so many people out there who are like, okay, if I'm just like really good at what I do, the world is going to all of a sudden pay attention to me. Right? If I'm
They hope, they believe.
If I'm just like really good at this one art form, if I'm really good at like music, no, the world does not care about you.
Yeah.
And how good you are. It just doesn't.
You have to mix the talent with the marketing.
Yes.
You have to have the reach and go actually get it, make people aware of it so they can care about it.
I fought that for so long. I was like, I had this Kobe project, one of the biggest marketing campaigns of all time. I was right at the beginning. I was right at the center of it. I was writing the checks, wrote $2.5 million in checks to make this thing happen with no permission, really. Like, almost should have gotten fired. And no one cared. No one cared, man. It was a vacuum. And even the executives, they sent a company-wide email and they're like, congratulations to the team. Your $3.5 million YouTube campaign outperformed the $21 million the $21 million TV campaign by 3x. 3x for like, but that was it. And I didn't get an award either. So everyone on that team got a Cannes Gold Lion Grand Prix award. That's like the top. That's the top advertising award you can get. At Cannes. Cannes.
Yes.
At the Cannes.
In France.
In France.
Yes.
You go to France. You get this.
So why didn't you get an award?
Because I was in media. I was on the media team. And like media buyers.
So like the creatives got the award and you don't, essentially.
Yeah. And I was in the meeting and was like, guys, let's do the selfie shootout. The selfie is the 2016 Oxford Dictionary Word of the Year. This is the most relevant cultural thing that is happening right now is the selfie. It's a cultural phenomenon. And Bogusky's gospel was, we hijack cultural phenomenon and we intersect ourselves into that conversation. So I was like, we're going to hijack the selfie. Kobe and Messi are going to take selfies. And the creatives took this idea, right? They made it way better. I couldn't have sold it. I wasn't a creative at this point.
Yes.
I didn't see myself as a creative, right? And that bothered me. But they took it and they sold it and we did it. But yeah, I didn't even get an award, dude. Like, there was a account manager, and account managers really are glorified meeting schedulers. At least they were at CPB. They didn't really do anything, right?
Uh-huh.
There was a couple account managers who I know for sure spent less than 4 or 5 hours on that project, and they got Cannes Lion awards.
Oh my gosh.
Grand Prix. And I was just like, what the? And then after that, this campaign goes and ends, and I get a little bit of backlash. Like the legal team comes in and they're like, hey, you signed all this shit without our permission. Xbox just got sued for not like following FTC guidelines on ad disclosures. And I was like, oh, well, you know what's great? We did ad disclosures in every single ad because we're not idiots. So we're not going to get sued. And we didn't.
There you go.
Because we did it right. But anyways, but that was it. There was a vacuum after that. And a few months went by and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, no, and I wasn't expecting like a promotion or anything like that. But really nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one even knows that I was a part of this. No one has any clue that I was involved in this at all.
Wow.
And I was like, when am I going to have Turkish Airlines walk in and say, we want to make the most viral ad of all time? And I was like, I am not going to be in the position for any of those opportunities ever again. And that's when 20th Century Fox reached out, you know, because they had seen it because I was getting like 30 likes on my LinkedIn posts. And I actually wrote a LinkedIn post. It was like the backstory, the secret backstory behind Kobe and Messi. And I just like...
You took that now mainstream phenomenon and you injected yourself back into it.
I injected myself into it. I wrote the whole thing about how we did it. And at this point, I wasn't at CPB anymore. And they actually had a meeting about whether or not they should sue me for that. My old boss, who was great, his name was Ivan Menderes Paris. Greatest guy, dude. Made my whole career. I owe that guy everything. He literally pulled me in a room.
You owe your dad everything because he got you the internship.
My dad, though. Yeah,
make sure he gets his.
My dad's privilege. But like, Ivan pulled me into a room and he's like, dude, I hired you to be like the viral expert here. And this is your moment. So you're not going to talk. He literally was like, we're not going to talk to legal. We're not going to talk to the media buying team. We're not going to talk to anyone. We're going to do this in complete secret. And I'm going to let you sign checks, but you're also going to take all the blame if anything goes wrong.
Like a savage.
But when it came down to it, he actually did defend me. And it just all worked out. Like nothing bad happened. But anyways, when I wrote this LinkedIn article that probably like 1,000 people read, maybe. Got like 40 likes, maybe. Yeah, they actually had a conversation about whether they should sue me or not. For just like...
And they didn't, probably because it's probably hard to do. Like, what did you do that was illegal? Like, are they
well, they didn't do it
confidentiality or
they didn't do it
libel or like, what are you really going to say here?
They didn't do it because I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing... I don't have any money.
Yeah, like what are
they're going to spend 40 grand suing me and they're going to get... Nothing.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's not worth it. But yeah, so by leaving and starting my own thing, I was like, all right, like maybe if I really somehow bamboozle somebody, I can get a job for like 110 grand in LA, maybe. And 20th Century Fox offered me 120. And when I got that offer, I was like, holy crap, 120? That's so much money.
You're rich now.
I'm rich. That's rich, dude. 120 at 25?
Yeah, man, that's the real deal.
Well, how much is that now? What's 120 now?
Oof, I don't know. I don't like playing the inflation games.
Maybe 180?
More.
180?
Much more. Yeah.
So it is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
It's not a lot of money in LA.
Yeah, in LA it's less.
But when you're 25 and you're not like a Silicon Valley like software engineer.
Yep.
Right? You're just a stupid PR guy with a journalism degree with no real skills whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But it's always funny to me to look back and see how your paradigm changes over time.
So what this whole conversation really comes down to is leverage.
Yes.
Because that's what this podcast is about. It's leverage. And I could not get leverage as an employee. I could not leverage this massive campaign that, dude, I was the Kobe Messi guy for years. over and over and over and over. Yeah, Kobe Messi, everywhere.
I mean,
You know?
like you said, no one else is going to give a crap. You have to make yourself relevant. And so whatever you achieve, whether it was Kobe Messi,
Yep.
whether it was subsequent ads that Chamber Media blew up for these big brands,
Yep.
you have to, the difference between never growing and growing massively
Yeah.
is your ability to take that and go tell that story in a way that creates leverage. And so you were able to go out and say, look, I'm the guy that did this. I can do this for your company. And now I can capture some of the reward and have some of the upside because I can create these outcomes for you.
I think it's really difficult to make a lot of money by like following rules. I broke so many rules. Here's a problem though, Spencer. This is the problem that we're in right now because you're an investor in Chamber Stays.
Yep.
And we are in a tough spot with finishing these hotels. The problem is I have always been rewarded for reckless and like disorderly behavior, disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
Has almost always been given me a reward.
I think it's because you've operated in marketing, and there's
I'm
a
in
direct
media.
Correlation in the media
My job is to do that. My job is to do that.
But that's not the best way to build operations.
No,
and it's not the best way to build an asset-based
So
business.
that's how I've approached
but
this-
you're learning those lessons.
I'm learning
and,
those lessons.
And that is part of the evolution. We're going to get to that. In fact, let's make that transition because we only have a little bit more time here. So
But the point is, it's leverage. And if you're listening to this and you're an employee, you have leverage if you're an executive. Your executives, they have a lot of performance pay. You've done a really good job with your structure, with your execs. They have leverage. They have a say. They have a long-term bar, right?
And I would say in most companies, if you want to move up and the higher you move up, those are higher leverage positions. You are able to work through other people. You're compensated not just on your own results, but on the results of other people. You're able to make, budgetary decisions and things that have much larger outcomes. And so you thus are able to earn more and get more responsibility.
And I don't know if I could say this accurately, but I would say if someone is not thinking that they're going to get into a position like that by the time they're in their early 30s, entrepreneurship's the route to go.
If
'Cause
there's
I do
someone who
know-
wants that though, because I do think I have found people who
Should not be entrepreneurs.
just shouldn't be entrepreneurs.
It's-
The things they value and what they want out of life. So this is specifically for
Yes.
people that are ambitious and that want
Yes.
these high leverage type opportunities.
This is for like extreme A-type personalities who get a rush from having their backs against the wall.
Yeah.
Fellow cortisol addicts.
So to the
'Cause
cortisol club, let's you need to
I'm a
either be on entrepreneurship or
I'm
you
a
need to be in
recovering-
high leverage executive type roles.
I'm a recovering cortisol addict. Like I'm going to therapy just to learn how to not use cortisol.
Man. I mean, that's important.
Yeah.
But listen, so let's look at that, right? We talked about how you gained all this leverage with Chamber Media. This is a common pattern I see in entrepreneurs, and I bet you've seen this as well, which is you built that success first on labor leverage and then on technological and media leverage. Like those were sort of the levers you were using.
Mhm.
And we talked about how you used the media leverage. We talked about, didn't talk a ton about how you built your team, but safe to say you built a team that, when you sold, I think it was 60, 100 people, something like that. I mean,
100.
100 people. So you had to learn how
It was
to
100
organize.
It was 100 people and about 70 people who deserved to be there.
That's fair.
Put it that way.
That's fair. So, but needless to say, you had to organize the people and learn how to get results through
Yes.
them, and then that produced the money to where you had financial leverage.
Mhm.
And so, as you exited that business, you sold that business.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I might add, you continue to make money and had certain benefits even post sale from that because of the leverage you had in terms of the reach of your social and your
They
ability
kind
to
of
continue to
can't
help
cut
that.
me off.
Yeah. So
They still pay me a salary. I still have health insurance.
So there are benefits that you got long-term post-sale, not just the money, because of the amount of leverage you built in your personal brand tied to that company.
I mean, now that you say it, like Chamber Media still pays for my mortgages.
I mean, even post-sale, and that's very interesting, right?
And I don't
Not all,
I
very
don't-
few entrepreneurs, I would say, are in that scenario after they sell.
I don't really do anything.
Yeah.
I have a call. I talk to like the president of it a lot,
Sure.
but that's it.
So
But they're using, to your point, they every ad they're running, maybe 50%, 60% of the ads they're running have my face in it.
Yeah, so there's leverage you've built that they still need.
So it's like if they cut me off, then it's like, well, can we still use his stuff?
Yeah, it gets tricky. So then you then find yourself in the domain of financial leverage, which is, all right, now I have a bunch of money.
Yes.
And I have to deploy that.
And
that's super challenging. Talk about going through that process.
So my biggest fumble of my career.
We have 6 minutes, so we're gonna
biggest fumble of my career is being horrible at asset what do you call it? Asset deployment.
Deploying capital.
I had all this money, did not think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Company it sells. I get a text one morning and it says, check your bank account. I open my bank account. There's $6.5 million sitting there. Now, how many people does that happen to in a life? There's a lot of people who make $6 million over a lifetime.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who make $1 million a year. But how often, and statistically, does someone just get $6.5 million all
lump sum
at once? Which is funny because I never.
And I want to highlight a couple things on this that people probably don't know. Yeah. Company sold for was valued at what, $17 million?
So $17 million. It was $12 million cash, but they required a $3 million reinvestment.
Yep.
So that was a pass through.
Yep.
To retain 20% because that's their model.
Yep.
They always want the founder to still own a piece.
Yep.
And so it was $9 million cash. Stefan got $2.5 million.
Yep, co-founder.
And then there was like $500,000 of escrow, which they ended up taking most of that.
Okay.
They found various accounting ways to take most of that, and then we never got earn out because they didn't hit the goals, which is there was a huge.
That's a whole other conversation for another day, and maybe well have another podcast and talk just selling business. But the point I wanted to make to people is like,
and I had no ability to leverage. I had no ability to leverage that money.
People hear that you sold a company, and it's like, oh, I sold a company for $17 million, and they think you have $17 million.
No.
There's the number it sells for.
Yeah.
There's how much of that you end up with.
Yeah.
Then there's post-tax, like what does it end up, and how much is in the account.
Yeah.
That's a lot that I just want people to be familiar with.
Yeah, $6.5 million really is like $3.5.
Yeah, once taxes. If you pay full tax on it. So that's where you found yourself. You started looking at ways, how do I minimize that tax burden?
I made like 2 really, really good choices, and then I made a lot of really bad choices.
That's the way it goes.
The best choice I made was putting money into an opportunity zone and building these hotels.
Yep.
And if I had done it all over again, what I would have done is I probably would have put like $4 million in the opportunity zone, right? And because that's an immediate deferment of tax liability.
Yeah.
And you could pay the taxes whenever you want. So you could pay, if you decide you're not going to use it in 2 years, then you could go pay the capital gains on it if you want. But I would have taken the other $2 million and I would have purchased some kind of security with it. And I didn't do that because the stock market was at an all-time high and real estate was at an all-time high. And every financial advisor I met with had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
They gave me a list of stocks and stuff to get into, and it was appalling to me that they had no playbook for this 1 year period that happens every 10 years. So, and I was arrogant, and I didn't trust anybody, and so the biggest problem I had is I had no income.
Yeah.
When you have no income, you have no leverage.
Yeah.
No one will lend to you, and because of my house and my lake house, like. I was the richest poor guy in America.
Yeah.
And I went to the bank. I'm like, hey guys, I just made $6.5 million. I spent $50,000 designing this home. It's a $2 million home. I'd like to get a loan on it. And they're like, no way in hell. Are we going to loan you money?
Yeah.
You have no income.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I do. I have $6 million. No. You sold that company. You no longer have income.
Yeah.
And so if
rules, this goes back to the rules.
If I had bought $2 million...
Most of the time, breaking the rules helps you.
Yeah.
There are some times where the rules are set up to help you. And the rules of being an employee and having just a stable job or an income, all of the leverage that the government backs and helps you, has created this whole system around loaning you money for homes. There are a few areas like that where as soon as you flip the script, you're playing with a deck that's stacked against you.
You don't want to try to media hack finance.
Yeah, that's not the same paradigm.
And I tried to get this creative rush off of it. But it doesn't freaking work that way. Money doesn't care.
Bunch of boring money people.
Doesn't care.
Yep.
And so if I had bought say $2 million in securities, right? Well, I wouldn't have paid any tax on the $4 million in the opportunity zone. And on the $2 million, I would have paid like $600,000 or something. But if I had $1.5 million in securities, like even if it was bonds or literally anything, I could go loan above that.
Yes.
Right? I could be like, hey, here's my, or I could have just bought like the most boring stock ever. Like I could have bought one of those, or I could have bought gold. I could have bought anything. And then I could have leveraged that.
Yeah.
And instead of, I mean, it was hard because the opportunities I had to use that money on building.
Yeah.
You have to buy the property and then you have to spend double that improving it if you want to write off your capital gains taxes. And then you have to hold it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And the program runs out in 7 years, but they're probably going to renew it. So when it comes to like all of these points of leverage that I figured out along the way, right? Leverage as far as media, leverage as far as like breaking rules, leverage as far as like innovation and creativity. I got to the finance piece and the asset allocation. None of that.
Whole different game.
Different game.
New lessons to learn.
And that's why I'm so stoked for you is you're so focused on, what do you call it? Capital deployment.
Yeah. So
you're preparing yourself for that ability to do that. And you're already doing it with chamber stays. But I missed that mountain. But once again, though, here's the question. Is my recklessness going to have ROI?
Probably. I bet on it. In fact, I did. I bet a lot of money on it. So
you bet a lot of money on that.
So
and on a weird note, like I look at Elon and like Tesla.
Yeah.
He was so boned. I guess he was a week away from bankruptcy, right?
Yeah.
He had a week to go find money. Now, what's interesting is I'm talking to this developer right now who wants to create a fund around chamber stays.
Yeah.
And he wants to go, he says it's $1 billion idea, $100 million.
I believe him. It's massive.
But he told me, he's like, dude, about, his fund has done 23% return for 10 years in a row.
It's incredible. Which
puts him probably in top 5%. But 10 years ago, he's like, dude, I had 6 weeks to come up with $1.5 million or I was done. He's like, so the position you're in, I've been in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I just, this whole topic of this episode is basically like, what is the ROI of recklessness? And when is it appropriate?
That's one theme we've explored.
When is recklessness appropriate? And when is it a leverage and when is it a massive liability?
The thing is, this is the whole goal behind this podcast, though, is that people need to learn how to use leverage, the different types of leverage.
Yeah.
And you can think, oh, I've got it mastered just because I have one area. And in reality, there's still so much more to learn. It's why I started this podcast, is I love learning from people and their experiences on this subject, because it's a lifelong pursuit. And, this investor that we're talking to, this is a guy who we're going to learn a ton from. Yeah. He has a massive skill set on the financial side, on the funding side. And there's so much to learn. He's learned how to wield that financial leverage better than you or I could dream of. We're going to learn a ton from him.
He's teaching me discipline.
You have to constantly bring in those people, different people, and get those lessons, because no one, and if they're telling you that they've mastered it all, they're full of themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the journey we're on. Thank you so much for sharing the lessons you've learned so far.
You're the man.
We'll do it again soon, man.
Okay.
Hey, before you go, I have a small request. Our mission is to empower as many people as possible to maximize their potential through the power of leverage. Could you help us in this mission by leaving a review on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube? And if you know just one person who would benefit from today's episode, would you please share it with them? Your support means the world to us, and we are thrilled to have you in the community. Thank you for being a part of our journey and helping us grow. You can find show notes for today's show and past shows at lessonsinleverage.com, which also has links to connect with me personally and connect with our various podcast channels across your favorite social networks. A big thanks to Solve.cloud, who sponsored this episode. They're a group of expert consultants that help SaaS and financial services companies to implement, optimize, and manage Salesforce.com. They can help you with custom integration solutions and are helping customers to implement some of the most important generative AI technologies. You can find them at solved.cloud. That's SOLVD.cloud is the URL. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.